official acknowledgement is needed, no clarification is required, and not even a deliberately pointed camera. Just one small gesture, 1 second of togetherness, and the whole world seems to stop. That's what happened when Jimin and Jungkook were seen holding hands again. A brief moment, yet its impact was so profound, as if it reopened all the feelings that ARMY had carefully tucked away in the deepest corners of their hearts. That handhold was not just a physical touch. It carried a long history, years of memories, and an emotional bond that had grown over time. When Jimin and Jungkook's hands clasped together, many ARMYs immediately felt something that was difficult to explain. There was warmth, there was security, but there was also a sudden, overwhelming sense of longing. "I am missing them so much" was not just a sentence, but a collective cry from the hearts of fans who had accompanied them since the beginning. Jimin and Jungkook are not strangers to each other. They grew up together, fell together, learned together, and matured before the eyes of the world. From young trainees full of dreams to global artists, their relationship has always felt different. There is an unforced tenderness, small gestures that often escape the spotlight of the big cameras, but that is precisely what makes it so real. When they hold hands again, all those memories come back to life, like a movie replaying in the minds of ARMY. Many say that holding hands is just a common thing. However, for Jimin and Jungkook, it never feels common. Jungkook, who is known for not touching people casually, looks so comfortable when his hand is in Jimin's. Jimin, with his gentle and empathetic nature, seems to always know when Jungkook needs someone's presence without having to say a word. In a world full of pressure, spotlight, and expectations, that handhold feels like a small protection from the outside world. What makes this moment even more emotional is its context. This isn't on a grand stage with pre-planned choreography. This isn't polished fan service. It happened naturally, without a script, without cues. That's precisely why it's so touching. Many ARMYs say that this moment feels like home. A reminder that behind their status as superstars, Jimin and Jungkook are still two people who depend on each other. The longing that arises after seeing that moment feels so heavy. Longing for their togetherness, longing for the little laughs they often share, longing for the simple interactions that always feel sincere. "I am missing them so much" is not just about missing seeing them together on screen, but also missing the days when everything felt simpler. When they were still often seen joking around carefree, when their happiness felt so close and real. That handhold also seemed to speak to ARMY, without words. It says that their bond is still there, still strong, still the same as before. That time, distance, and change cannot erase the bond that has been built over the years. Many ARMYs feel comforted, as if they have been given a warm hug from afar. At the same time, there is also a feeling of sadness, because we realize how much we miss moments like this. Jimin and Jungkook always have a unique way of comforting each other. Sometimes through eye contact, sometimes through a small smile, and this time through a handshake. There is no need to explain. There is no desire to prove anything to anyone. They're just being themselves. And perhaps that is why their relationship is so beloved. It feels honest, fragile, and human. For ARMY, this moment serves as a reminder of why we fell in love with BTS in the first place. It's not just because of their music, but because of the human connection they show. Jimin and Jungkook teach us that intimacy doesn't always have to be grand and dramatic. Sometimes, it comes in the simplest form, like two hands clasped together in the midst of the world's hustle and bustle. That longing is now mixed with gratitude. Gratitude for still being able to see moments like this. Gratitude that the bond hasn't faded. Gratitude that Jimin and Jungkook still find each other, even as the world continues to move quickly. Many ARMYs have written about their feelings, admitting to crying, smiling, then crying again. The emotions come in waves, difficult to control, yet so real. "I am missing them so much" also means missing their energy together. Missing the chemistry that cannot be engineered. Missing the calm feeling that arises every time they are in the same frame. That handhold became a symbol of all that, a reminder that some bonds don't need long explanations. They just need to be felt. Amidst all the speculation, rumors, and opinions that continue to emerge, this moment feels like a soothing pause. There is nothing to defend, nothing to deny. Just enjoy what you see. Two people who care for each other. Two souls who grew up together. Two hands that meet again. And perhaps that is where the beauty lies. That even though time passes and many things change, there is something that remains the same. Jimin and Jungkook's handhold reminds us that true connections are not easily lost. They may not always be visible, but they are always there, waiting for the right moment to reappear and touch the hearts of so many people. In the end, this small moment leaves a big mark. It makes ARMY feel love, hope, and longing all at once. It makes us realize that we don't just miss them as idols, but as people who have been a part of our lives for years. And as long as there are moments like this, as long as there are sincere handshakes, that longing will always be accompanied by the belief that their bond is still alive. Jimin and Jungkook held hands again, and the world felt a little warmer. But behind that warmth, there were the hearts of ARMY whispering softly, full of emotion and love. I miss them so much. That longing feels even more intense when we realize how rare these simple moments are. Amidst busy schedules, industry pressures, and distances that cannot always be bridged, seeing Jimin and Jungkook holding hands again feels like a small but precious gift. Many ARMYs did not immediately react with screams or excessive euphoria, but instead paused for a moment, allowing the feeling to sink in slowly. There was a meaningful silence, as if their hearts were speaking to their memories. That handhold takes us back to the early days, when Jimin and Jungkook were often seen relying on each other in such an innocent way. The younger Jungkook often sought Jimin's presence as emotional support, and Jimin patiently stayed by his side, providing a sense of security without saying much. Over time, their roles may have changed, but the essence of their relationship remains the same. There is mutual care, mutual understanding, and a desire to stay together amid all the changes. Many ARMYs say that this moment makes them feel like they are coming home. Not to a physical place, but to the feelings that made them fall in love with BTS in the first place. Warm, sincere, and empathetic feelings. In a world that often feels cold and noisy, Jimin and Jungkook's handhold is a reminder that tenderness still exists. That small gestures can still have great meaning. The longing is also mixed with emotion. Emotion because they realize how long their journey has been. Emotion because they see that after everything that has happened, they still choose each other as their support. No one knows what was on their minds at that moment, but body language often speaks more honestly than words.